This is one of those moments that is not a split screen in different information universes. The former Secretary of State, a candidate who got more votes than Donald Trump in 2016, but of course lost in the Electoral College, a person who had disclaimed, and there's no evidence to suggest she has personal knowledge in the Epstein matter, but Republicans brought her in for only the way they can explain. And when she came out to speak, I'm going to show you a little bit of what she said tonight. This was covered across all of the news channels, not just one or the other. And obviously Hillary Clinton is a person in American life where everyone can look up and go, oh, what is she saying tonight? Well, here is some of what she said coming out of that Epstein private hearing.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. But whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond.
The former Secretary of State saying that she showed up, she has her objections, but unlike so many people who are not perhaps serious about subpoenas or the rule of law or other government rules and laws, she says, okay, I showed up. She's been very critical, though, and released a public opening statement in writing where we could see some of her robust, really evidence-backed criticisms of how the committee's approached this thus far. Now, of course, she's finished the deposition. She mentioned in her public remarks that she was asked about things ranging from UFOs to a discredited conspiracy theory.
At the end, quite unusual, because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet.
Secretary Clinton speaking. Again, she finished those remarks just about 6 minutes ago. While she was testifying before what is a closed-door House Oversight Committee, a Republican Congresswoman, Lauren Boebert, leaked this image. That apparently breaks protocol for a closed deposition. Remember, it's the committee she's on that deemed this closed. That actually led to a pause in the hearing, we understand. She did post, Secretary Clinton, her opening statement online. She says she had no idea of Epstein's activities. She never recalled meeting him. She heard, I should say, you heard her say that just moments ago. She also addressed Republicans, saying, you're fully aware I have no knowledge that would assist your investigation. But in order to distract attention from President Trump's actions, she says they're hauling in the Clintons and doing these other things. She goes on to say if the majority were serious, it would not waste time on fishing expeditions. We do have reports from some lawmakers that she went through all the questions. Democrats today say all of this is a distraction from what has been well documented, to the point that Donald Trump, of course, was overruled by both parties late last year, forced to release the Epstein files, that the distractions and the foot dragging and the delays, ironically perhaps, have only enlarged and lengthened the duration of time that Americans continue to hear about Donald Trump, along with many, not all, but many Republicans doing this slow motion cover up. Here's some of what we heard.
We are sitting through an incredibly unserious clown show of a deposition.
We're talking to the wrong person today.
Members of Congress and the Republican Party are more concerned about getting their photo op of Secretary Clinton than actually getting to the truth.
We're demanding immediately that we ask President Trump to testify in front of our committee.
This is where we land tonight. It is unprecedented to have a former president appear under subpoena before Congress. President Clinton is slated to do that. We heard Secretary Clinton there. And as I mentioned, it can seem topsy-turvy. The main reason no other former president has been subpoenaed like this is not about the subject of the case or the pile of evidence. It is that in past times we have seen the Congress be more deferential. Here we have a Congress that claims they want to get to the bottom of this with the Clintons, but they show no interest in currently pressing Donald Trump on a cover-up exposed just this week of the very Epstein files that they demanded under law be released. One more point as we compare what's happening to what maybe could happen in a serious probe. Secretary Clinton made a very fair point, which is fact-check true, about what is happening in the actual governmental resources and fight against sex trafficking. whatever people think about Hillary Clinton, and there's been times politically where she's been seen as divisive. I mentioned she got a lot of votes in 2016. But as Secretary of State and in her work in public advocacy, she has long been a champion of women and girls. She has spoken out about the abuse of women and girls abroad, the methods of sex trafficking. She's not new to this, if you will. And I just want to read briefly that she notes in her statement today, the Trump administration gutted the Trafficking in Persons Office at the State Department, the agency she once ran, cutting more than 70% of the career civil and foreign service experts who work to prevent the trafficking of women and girls. There are some who might not have noticed that or might not care. There are others who watched the Elon Musk Doge escapade and said, yep, got to cut all these parts of government. Secretary Clinton reminding the committee today and the Trump administration there are actual serious proven ways to fight sex trafficking with the force and the power of the U.S. government if politicians are so interested. I'm joined now by veteran journalist Gretchen Carlson, co-founder of Lift Our Voices, and Gene Robinson, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, MS Now analyst. Gretchen, let's try to start with substance, although on a fight like this, we can also discuss the politics. Secretary Clinton's point that there are proven ways to do this, and they didn't just reform or trim that office. She says the Trump Republicans gutted it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're putting all the attention trying to on Hillary Clinton today and not on Donald Trump, and it's having the reverse effect. The effect now is that why is Donald Trump not being deposed? I mean, that's the biggest question right now. He's mentioned third in line after Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in the Epstein files, at least what we've seen so far. Now, tomorrow, is there relevance of having President Clinton there? Potentially. But today to have Hillary Clinton, who has been on the record as saying that she never even met Jeffrey Epstein. This was political theater to try to, I think, embarrass Hillary Clinton today. And, you know, she had no reason to be called. Where's Alex Acosta? I mean, where are all these lawyers and judges and border control agents and all these people in the Miami Herald article today that Epstein apparently manipulated over years and years? Where are they coming to testify with regard to all of this? There are a lot of missing parts. Hillary Clinton is not the answer to getting to the bottom of the Epstein files.
Gene, your thoughts tonight?
Well, all right, you know, just in the category of first ladies, okay. If you're gonna take depositions from first ladies, what about the first lady who was photographed multiple times with Jeffrey Epstein, who knows him? What about Melania Trump? You know, so you could reasonably, I suppose, call her, but of course the Republicans did not. This is a botched attempt, I think, at political theater, because it only makes the Republicans look even more furtive and manipulative and frightened of information that could come out that could damage Donald Trump. And that's what it makes them look like. And I think it was in the end a great big own goal on the part of Republicans. I don't think anybody is buying this, because this is not, as you said, it's not a partisan issue. It's just an issue that everybody wants transparency, and this doesn't get you any transparency. It gets you the opposite.
And does it, Gene, as you've covered the Clinton wars since the 90s, does it also at a macro level just look a little dated, like they wish they could rerun campaigns that are decades old?
Yeah, and that never works, but it absolutely does look dated. You know, we'll distract everybody by, you know, Clintons. We'll point at the Clintons and those awful Clintons, and that will get everybody riled up and make them forget about all those tens of thousands of mentions of Donald Trump in the Epstein files. And again, who thought this would work? Who thought this was a good idea? I can't imagine anybody, you know, they're not getting very good advice.